The night you think you are safe, yet unseen forces are moving around you. Darkness falls, and the silence of the night seems peaceful, but your soul senses the tension that daylight hides. Every tick of the clock is a reminder. Something stirs in the invisible, unseen by the eye, yet pressing against your mind, heart, and spirit. Anxiety rises subtly, the kind you dismiss as fatigue, overthinking, or the noise of life. But tonight, you will see it for what it truly is: spiritual pressure seeking to take advantage of unguarded moments. Every second you ignore this unseen threat allows it to gain strength and authority over your life. Psalm 91 is not just a comfort. It is a divine strategy of defense, a shield activated for those who choose to recognize it. Moses understood this deeply. He walked the line between visible battles and hidden attacks, knowing that God's protection is both present and active, even when you are unaware. The enemy does not announce its approach. It moves in silence, in shadows, in the corners of your mind where worry and doubt linger. And yet, God's authority is louder, stronger, and more enduring than every invisible assault. Your body may rest tonight, but your soul cannot truly sleep until it recognizes the unseen pressures and aligns with divine protection. Urgency whispers in your heart, act now. Scarcity reminds you that few understand how to counter these forces before they manifest fully. Fear challenges you to face the invisible, while curiosity pushes you to discover God's strategies for shielding the mind, the heart, and the life you hold dear. Moses stood firm in faith, spoke declarations before outcomes appeared, and relied on God to transform vulnerability into security. Tonight, you will uncover the truth many ignore. You are not alone. Invisible forces act constantly, yet God's shield is already waiting. The key is recognition, alignment, and declaration. Only then can rest, peace, and confidence replace the hidden pressure threatening your spirit. Your vigilance will awaken God's power in ways you may have never imagined, turning a night of unseen threats into a fortress of divine protection. Your awareness tonight is not just for survival. It is the opening of a doorway to empowerment, to faith, and to the profound peace that comes from knowing that God's protection is active, ready, and unshakable. Why invisible attacks escalate when you least expect them? Darkness is not neutral. It is a battlefield where unseen forces intensify precisely when your attention wanes. During the day, the noise of life shields you, distracting the mind and drowning out the subtle pressures of the invisible realm. But night arrives, and with it, spiritual tension that you cannot perceive with the eyes alone. Moses knew this truth intimately. The dangers that lurk unseen are not mere imagination. They are real, pressing against the mind, emotions, and spirit in ways that can undermine faith and peace if ignored. Psalm 91 reveals that vigilance is essential, even when everything seems calm. These spiritual pressures grow stronger in silence, in moments when you feel safe or asleep. Urgency whispers, the longer you remain unaware, the more influence the enemy gains. Scarcity reminds you that few recognize this danger in time. God permits these moments not to harm, but to reveal His protection, to show that awareness and reliance on Him are stronger than any unseen attack. Every unguarded second offers opportunity for doubt, fear, and anxiety to infiltrate. The enemy prefers night, not for visibility, but for deception. Shadows of uncertainty creep in, whispering lies about your safety and your worth. Pain and worry attempt to manipulate your perception, urging inaction and fear. Moses confronted this reality through faith, prayer, and reliance on God's authority, demonstrating that recognition and spiritual vigilance are the first steps toward overcoming these invisible attacks. This is not punishment. It is an invitation to align your awareness with divine protection. The enemy cannot dominate a soul that chooses vigilance and divine alignment. What seems invisible is tangible in its effect, and Psalm 91 provides the strategy to counter it. By acknowledging these pressures, you activate God's defense before the unseen strikes fully. Tonight, learn to see the invisible. Understand that your attention is the first line of defense. Align with God's promises, and what once threatened in darkness will become a testimony of His protection. You were not created to be unaware, vulnerable, or powerless. The night may be quiet, but God's authority is louder and more enduring than every hidden assault. How anxiety masks spiritual attacks. What you often dismiss as restlessness, overthinking, or mild anxiety may be more than a psychological burden. It may be a spiritual signal. The quiet whispers of doubt, the racing thoughts, the heaviness that prevents true rest are not mere coincidences. They are the enemy's subtle attempts to destabilize your faith and cloud your peace. Moses understood this tension. He recognized pressures that could not be seen with the eyes, but could be felt in the heart and mind. These unseen forces are real, strategic, and persistent, targeting those who are unaware of their spiritual environment. Psalm 91 teaches that awareness coupled with reliance on God is the key to countering these attacks. What feels random or irrational is often deliberate, a targeted effort to infiltrate your thoughts, influence your decisions, and steal your rest. Urgency calls. The longer you ignore these signs, the more authority fear gains over your heart. Scarcity reminds you that few recognize the patterns of these invisible assaults before they take root. Every unexamined thought that fosters anxiety allows the enemy to expand his influence. Curiosity is awakened. The very sensations you label as stress may be divine alerts, urging you to seek God's protection. Pain and pleasure clash internally as you wrestle with the temptation to ignore these signals or confront them through faith. Moses exemplified how to respond through recognition, prayer, and aligning oneself with divine promises. Authority is activated when you name these pressures before God, acknowledging His sovereignty over your mind, body, and spirit. Restlessness is never accidental. It is designed to prompt recognition, reflection, and action. By acknowledging the spiritual dimension of your anxiety, you create the pathway for God's intervention. This awareness transforms vulnerability into preparation, fear into discernment, and unrest into proactive alignment with God's protection. Psalm 91 becomes your map, revealing how to turn invisible pressures into an opportunity for spiritual growth and defense. Tonight, do not dismiss the signals within you. Let God illuminate the unseen, expose the subtle attacks, and guide your mind toward peace. Recognize the hidden battleground, name the pressures before Him, and allow your faith to transform fear into fortified protection. You are not helpless. You are being called to awaken, to guard your mind, and to claim the divine shield that is already prepared for you. When attacks occur silently, the most dangerous attacks are the ones you do not see. They arrive quietly, slipping into the corners of your mind, infiltrating the spaces where your defenses are down. Invisible pressures manifest as subtle fears, fleeting doubts, and persistent unease that seems to have no origin. Moses faced these silent assailants throughout his life. He understood that the most formidable enemies are those that strike without warning, without recognition, and without the noise of confrontation. Psalm 91 assures us that protection extends not only from visible threats, but also from those unseen. The night, the quiet moments, the solitary spaces, they are often the battlefield where spiritual and emotional captivity is attempted. Scarcity reminds us. Few recognize these attacks for what they truly are. Ignorance amplifies the power of the enemy, allowing subtle fear to manipulate, distort, and paralyze. Urgency is key. The sooner you recognize the silent pressures, the quicker God's authority can activate on your behalf. Curiosity awakens as you perceive that what appears coincidental, random anxiety, restlessness, or intrusive thoughts, may be strategic. These are the moments that demand mindfulness, prayer, and alignment with divine protection. Moses responded not with fear, but with vigilance, prayer, and adherence to God's guidance. Authority activates when you consciously acknowledge the unseen, inviting God's intervention where human senses fail. Pain and pleasure intersect. Continue to live unaware and be moved by fear, or embrace awareness and witness God's promises manifest. Silent attacks lose their power when exposed to the light of God's truth, declared aloud with faith and intentionality. Your recognition becomes the first act of defense, creating space for divine intervention to dismantle what you cannot see. Tonight, listen to the subtle signals. Do not allow the silence of the hour to become a shield for the enemy. Activate awareness, call upon God's authority, and let Psalm 91 guide your heart. The invisible is made visible through faith, prayer, and vigilance. Recognize the battlefield, stand firm in spiritual awareness, and allow God to secure your mind, spirit, and soul from attacks you cannot perceive with the eyes. Declaring God's protection through declaration. Breaking invisible chains requires intention, faith, and vocal authority. Protection is not passive. Moses understood that God's promises must be claimed, spoken, and acted upon. Psalm 91 emphasizes verbal acknowledgement of divine defense, making the unseen tangible through faith-filled words. The spoken declaration carries weight, dismantling fear and oppression that the enemy cannot touch when confronted with authority from heaven. Your nightly prayers are not mere ritual. They are active, spiritual warfare. Urgency demands that you speak before threats fully manifest. Scarcity reminds you that few believers practice such intentional declarations, and curiosity compels you to notice the immediate shift when faith is voiced aloud. The enemy cannot withstand a soul aligned with God's word, boldly spoken. Every sentence uttered in faith interrupts the plans of darkness, forcing the unseen forces to flee before gaining traction. First call to action. Write a prophetic phrase aloud now, declaring God's protection over your mind, your family, your home, and your spirit. Let these words not be mere echoes, but powerful instruments that trigger God's intervention. Authority resides not only in recognition, but in deliberate action. Scarcity highlights the rarity of believers who wield such power daily. Seize it before the night deepens and invisible pressures strengthen. Fear loses its potency when confronted. Anxiety and unrest diminish when God's promises are declared with unwavering belief. Moses spoke before outcomes appeared because faith activates results beyond human comprehension. Plot twist. Your words carry a spiritual signature, reversing attacks before they can even take form. Spoken faith transforms passive protection into active shielding, ensuring that what is invisible remains powerless. Tonight, your voice becomes your weapon. Speak with clarity, confidence, and alignment with God. Let your declaration create a sanctuary around your life, family, and home. Recognize the authority granted through Psalm 91, follow Moses' example, and step into divine protection. This is not the time for silence, it is the time for vocal, intentional, transformative faith. Rest and peace after spiritual alignment. True rest comes only after the soul aligns with God, not merely after physical exhaustion. Psalm 91 completes the spiritual journey. Awareness, vigilance, declaration, divine protection. Moses knew that peace is not an automatic reward. It is the consequence of engaging actively with God's promises and stepping into the authority He grants. When you activate God's shield through recognition and verbal affirmation, the invisible attacks lose their power and the soul rests securely under His care. The night, which once seemed full of threats and unseen pressures, becomes a sanctuary of divine presence. Scarcity reminds us that few consistently achieve this level of spiritual awareness before sleep. Urgency demands that you practice it now. Pain and anxiety diminish as the believer experiences God's immediate response to faith in action. Authority flows from alignment. The believer who declares God's protection establishes an invisible wall that even unseen forces cannot penetrate. Curiosity compels the soul to notice the transformation as fear retreats and confidence in God's care grows. Second call to action. Like and subscribe to Spread the Word of God, enabling more souls to awaken to His protective power. Engage in this practice faithfully so your life, home, and family rest under continuous divine shielding. Invitation to pray the Lord's Prayer seals this alignment, granting both spiritual rest and protection that extends beyond the night. Your words, actions, and faith combine to create a rhythm of obedience that the enemy cannot break. Closing reflection. The night is no longer a time of anxiety or vulnerability. Invisible attacks, once threatening, have been neutralized by faith, declarations, and alignment with God's authority. Your soul, mind, and household rest fully under divine care. Every whispered fear is replaced with assurance, every unrest with peace, and every shadow with the light of God's protection. You were not created to endure nights of hidden threats. Through Psalm 91 and Moses' example, your nights are now a place of refuge, restoration, and divine peace.